Hello, hello, hello. Now that we've had the schedule for a couple days, I've been able to deep dive to see where we have some advantages and where there are some disadvantages in our schedule for this upcoming season. I'll go through each with you. Plus, today was the first loss for Team Germany in their preparation for EuroBasket. That brings their record to 3-1. I'm going to go over Tristan and Franz's numbers from the game, as well as a little bit of film so you can see how they got there. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I just want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. Click subscribe so you don't miss on any content that I produce, as well as becoming part of the Orlando Magic Nation. And in the comments below, let me know what you thought about the game today between Germany and Serbia, or where are there some easy wins in our schedule and when you think there might be some hard periods. But first, we're going to start with the schedule. There's a really cool website called Positive Residual that basically gives you a full understanding of the schedule. So, from their algorithms, it looks like the Magic have the sixth easiest schedule this upcoming season. I know we play everybody, and we know that there are going to be surprises here and there, but they ran the numbers, and on their books, we have the sixth easiest schedule there, so that's pretty good. A couple other cool little things here you see is the disadvantages and the advantages that are on there. I think that also goes with travel. So they basically are also incorporating the travel and also altitude in where there are some advantages and disadvantages. I kind of went just dirty, went through and see who we're playing, how many days rest we had before that match, and the same thing, how many days of rest they had in that match. So I was able to come up with mostly the same amount of days or games that we have advantages and disadvantages. The biggest, I would say, disadvantage that we have this year is if you look at our miles traveled. We're going to be the most traveled team. Obviously, that this amount, 53,000 miles, includes the 9,000 ish miles that it takes to get from Orlando to Berlin and from London back to Orlando. So if you take that out, we'd be in the 44 range, which is basically what we were last year. So we'd be in the middle-ish area here in the NBA. So it looks bad. We're number one, and that's just what it is. And if you look at the little map here, we have a little line over to to Germany as well as the UK. But ultimately, I think that's the best part here. We're all gonna have the same games. We can change the rate on here. It just tells you how many days of advantage we have. There are four teams that have 11 games of advantage, and there are 12 teams that have disadvantage. Oh, sorry, 8 teams that have 12 games that are rest disadvantages. Now, like I mentioned, I just did it old school going through the schedule myself. I put it into my little spreadsheet so that I could track the games and get everything ready. So if you look at our rivals, so like I mentioned in the previous video about the schedule, you should check that one out because I go through all of our showcase games. I go through all the rival games. I go through all of that. So in these rival games here on the far column to the right, I put the rest advantage. So in, let's say, the first game here on Friday, October 24th, when we play at home versus Atlanta, there's no difference in rest advantage. So either we both had one, yeah, we both will have had one day off, having played on the 22nd of October. So that's basically how I went through each one of these. So the same thing on the 29th of October against Detroit at Detroit, there's no rest advantage. Now on the game on November 4th with Atlanta. We play them at Atlanta. That's going to be on NBC. We actually have the rest advantage. So we had an extra day off before that game than Atlanta. It's the same for the New York game that we play at New York. The same thing. That one's going to be on ESPN. We have a day, we have one day off more than they did between that game. So the home game versus New York on November 22nd, where they actually will have had the advantage. against Detroit away. So when we play them in Detroit on November 28th, we have the advantage. The same thing for Cleveland when we play them at home on January 24th. We have the day advantage. Same when we play Detroit at home March 1st, as well as Cleveland at home March 11th. So we have the rest advantage in those games. So as you see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 games that we have the disadvantage when we're playing the rivals. So that right there for me is the key matchups that I mentioned yesterday or last video. I mentioned that these are the games that we really should be circling, and those should be the ones that we're pinning and we're making sure that we have to win. So if you look at it in the end, even our rival games or the games that we're should be really focused on to try to win, most of them we actually have an advantage in days of rest. Obviously, that doesn't mean everything, but that will help out because hopefully we're going to be a bit fresher. We're the younger team versus most of these teams as well. So, younger legs as well as rested younger legs. Hopefully, it's going to be an advantage for us moving forward in those games. Now, this is the disadvantage just in general. These are the games that we have that will be disadvantaged. I won't go through every single one of them, but October 25th at home versus Chicago, October 30th at Charlotte, November 10th at home versus Portland, November 14th at home versus Brooklyn, November 20th at home versus the Clippers, November 22nd at home against New York, at Boston on November 23rd. So as you see, a lot of November. We're most of November. It looks like we have a rest advantage or disadvantage, excuse me, against a lot of teams. So in the first part of the season, we're really plugging through these games. So we're going to be having a bit of a disadvantage on those games. Then November 27th at home against Denver, because I think that one's the back. Yeah, that one's a back to back. So Denver will have had a day off before coming to Orlando to play. January 7th at Brooklyn, January 28th at Miami, February 9th at home against Milwaukee, February 22nd at the Clippers. So both times we play the Clippers, we're at a disadvantage. March 12th at home against Houston. No, sorry, at home against Washington. March 17th at home against Oklahoma City. Unfortunately, that one's one of those. That's one of those back to backs that we have. That it's an away game, and then we come back home to play Oklahoma City. So we're going to be at a disadvantage on that one. March 24th, away at Cleveland. They will have had 2 days of rest versus our playing a back to back on that one as well. Then April 1st at home against Atlanta and April 6th at home against Detroit. Look at that. I did go through all of them. It was a bit quicker than I thought. So those are the games that we're going to be at a disadvantage on. As you see, a lot of them, of course, are doing our back to backs. That's where I think also the site positive residual says that there are 11 games that we have the advantage. Those are the 11 games that the other teams basically coming off a back to back. So we're getting them with our day rest, and they're playing a back to back. Same thing with the 12 the 12 games that they said on that website that there was a disadvantage. We have 14 back to backs. Two of them there is no rest advantage just because the other team is also doing a back to back. The rest of the 12 is why that website basically says we're at a disadvantage. It's because we're playing the second night of a back to back, and the other team will have had a day off. So looking at the schedule there, as I mentioned before, and I go back to the video that I went through basically the whole entire schedule to see the different blocks and where there's advantage or where there might be some more difficult points. January, we should be able to pick up a bunch of wins there, even though we do have the long trip over to Europe. Even weirdly, when we come back from Europe, Charlotte is playing on a back to back, and we will have had 2 days rest. So I don't really know if that's a rest advantage necessarily because we will have not played in a couple days. Not well, we will have not played for sure. I don't know why I did quotes. We will have not played, and Charlotte will be coming off a back to back. So in that respect, maybe that's a wash because we're doing international travel to come all the way back in time zones, and they're doing the back to back. So who knows in that respect? And again, we'll see. This is all hypothetical. We'll see what the season will have for us. But overall, I think looking at the schedule, it really lines up well for us. I know the over under for the Magic is 50.5 wins for the year. I'd say we have to go over. If we win 49 or 50 games, I think something went poorly. Either the yeah, something went poorly. Injuries again, or just Desmond is going to not be able to shoot for whatever reason, and that's something that I don't think is going to be likely. So I think we're going to hit the over. The schedule lends itself. We have apparently one less game that's a disadvantage, but I think if you look at a lot of them, some of them are against Brooklyn, the Brooklyns of the world, Washingtons. Yeah, so we have Brooklyn two times, I think, on this list. Washington we have on there. We don't know what Miami's going to be. We don't know what Milwaukee's going to be. So there's going to be some Charlotte's on there. So even though they are disadvantaged games, I think in the end we should be able to. We should have enough talent to be able to pull those out. So I think we're gonna be set up for a really, really great season. So if we move forward to the Euro Prep games for our Team Germany group, so we have the two players playing for the German national team, Franz Wagner and Tristan de Silva. They've played 4 games so far and prep for the Euro Cup. The EuroBasket. They have at least 2 more games. I know that for sure. They're playing against Spain on the 21st of August and the 23rd of August. It's cute the way Europeans they have to make everything a competition. They're the last 2 games the German national team played, they played a Super Cup, is what it was called, and now the games coming up against Spain are going to be the Tournament of Champions because they were world champions in 2019, and Team Germany is from was the world champion in 2023. So they're champions, so that's what they're dubbing it. So they're going to be exhibition games, and they still are not part of EuroBasket. But again, it's a good standing to see where Team Germany is. They played Serbia today, which is one of the best teams. Obviously, Jokic is on there, but it was Jovic actually that really got to them in this game. And Serbia is a really good team. They won the bronze. They beat Germany to get the bronze in not Tokyo, Paris last year at the Olympics. So Serbia is a good team. So in the end, I think it was a good test for them. If Schroeder is not going to play well, then Team Germany is really going to be struggling to win. Franz, if we look at the stats, Franz had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 47% from the field and 22% from three. So he shot 2 of 9 from three so far in the 4 games. Franz has shot 17%. He's been 3 of 18, I think is what it looks like there. If we do the quick math, 3 of 18 from three so far. That's been the concern. That's been the discussion. That's everyone's hyper focused on Franz's three. For me, it looks good. I understand he's missing, and with Franz on his national team, he definitely has the ball even more than he does with the Magic. When he has the ball in his hands and he goes directly into a shot with the ball in his hands, I feel there is no hitch really, unless they sag underneath, like if it's a pick and roll or if there's a pick and they just go underneath and then they dare him to shoot. When they dare him to shoot and he's not rushed, he doesn't since if he doesn't speed it up himself, that's when he'll start to slow down, and that was when there was a bit more of a hitch. There were a couple times in this game that they went under the screen and it seemed way more fluid than it had. So that's always the positive. That's something that we're obviously very excited for. We hope that continues because the hitch was the problem. It's all mental at this point. He's a good enough free throw shooter. He's starting to hit from mid range now. He's a good shooter. So for him to shoot so poorly from three is quite a surprise, I'm sure, for him. And he's trying to not get into his head. He says he's an overthinker. It's just about continuing to get the reps. So we'll see a couple of his we'll see his two makes in the video coming up. For me, the shot looks good. It's just a matter of him squaring up a bit more because again he's the one of the main focal points of Team Germany. He's the one that gets the grenades sometimes that Paolo normally gets, and Franz got when Paolo was out for the Magic. So there's a lot of times where it's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. He gets the ball back and he just has to launch. So those aren't going to be the highest percentage shots as we know, and that's what's hurt their efficiency in the regular season on their NBA team. We'll see how it goes the rest of the tournament. So if we go through the averages for Franz in the 4 games, we already talked about the 3 pointers, but he's averaging 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And again, he's shooting 49% from the field in total. So he's getting to the basket. He's a lot of his little floaters are going in as well. So Franz is playing well. It's literally just his 3-point shot that's not falling at the moment. Now, Tristan da Silva's role on the German national team is very similar to what it is on the Magic. So it's been really great to see how uh, he didn't really even have to adjust, really. He just has to continue to play the role he's played on the Magic. And if we look at his game today, he was the one keeping them afloat in the first half with 12 points, 5 for 5 shooting in the first half. But he finished with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 0 assists, shooting 5 of 6 from the field and 2 of 3 from three. He did it. If I were you, I would check my video on Tristan's player profile because it was exactly as I mentioned on what his strengths are. He was playing to his strengths exactly in this game. He cut when he needed to cut. He was in the corner hitting his threes. He did everything that all we're going to need from him because on the Orlando Magic, he's a rotation guy, so he's not somebody that we're expecting to have a huge imprint on the game. But when his number is called, when the ball gets to him, since he's going to be so wide open, you'll see in the film how wide open he was a few times in this game. All he's got to do is knock down those shots. So if he's going to be a shooter, he's going to be in the corner. He's going to be open. He needs to be able to knock those down. And last year he shot 37% from the corner. So I think that's something that he's going to see very often. And especially now with even more shooting that we have on the perimeter with the Tyus and Desmond coming on board. I think he's going to be wide open all the time. And that's going to be something that's going to be great for us because he seems that he likes the corners and that's that. The driving, I think, is the best part of what he does because he's normally left alone in the corners. He can easily backdoor and have easy buckets at the rim, which in this game you'll see a couple that he drove at the right time. He cut at the right time when the defense wasn't had their backs turned, and he just was able to get easy baskets. He even had one that I don't have on film that it was a kind of like a little bunny hook actually. So he's even working on the Tristan sky hook basically. So I think in his role in the national team is exactly what his role is on the Magic, and if he plays like this on the Magic, then he might be the sixth man on the team, or like the sixth, the MVP of our bench, let's say, because his ball handling is something that we really need. But as long as he can hit those shots, play a little defense, step into a role. If Franz is taking a day off, step into the starting lineup. The sky's the limit, as I mentioned. So check out the sixth man video I talked about this, and check out the player profile that I did for Tristan because all that is on there. So here we have Tristan at the bottom. As you can see, Tristan's wide open. There's actually two guys open over here on the back corner here. If Tristan is all alone. There you go. Splash. That's all he needs to be able to do on the Magic. Is sit there. Franz with the ball. Reset, reload, relocate. They go under. He didn't have the hitch, you see. He didn't take his sweet time and go and sometimes think about it. Like that was what was happening with the Magic last year. He would then sit there, think, be like, okay, I have all the time in the world. Here we go. And it just took way too long. That time just loaded and shot. So this is Tristan's on my talking. Let's go back a little. This is Franz's three. Now Tristan. So Dennis Schroeder. Dennis didn't really have a great game today, and like I said, if he doesn't play well, Team Germany is going to really be stuck, especially because how small they are, and if the small guys aren't shooting and scoring, it's gonna be a tough night. Anywho, so here he goes. So Tristan, as you see, was wide open on the wing there. He wasn't in the corner. There's another guy in the corner there, but he sees that he's wide open. Two are on the ball. Nice cut. Easy basket. So Dennis, yeah, with the ball, he was a bit free, but again, he turns the corner here. Look how wide open he is over in the corner. Wide open, splash. That's all he needs to do with the Magic. That's it. So this is the ball there. This is Franz with the ball. He's gonna try to be unselfish. His little floater. So again, in this game, there was a lot of picking and rolling between with Franz and with Dennis Schroeder. So we'll see we'll see what offense the Magic are going to run this season. But here's that. Franz has it there, and Franz driving today. There was nobody could stay in front of him. There's another turn again. Squares his shoulders, blow by. None of the guys were able to stay in front of him. This one's a long one. So I put this one in just again because Franz, when he has the ball in his hands, he has less of a hitch. That was just what it was last year, and that's what likely will continue to happen since there's less of a hitch when when people go under the screen. So in this one, it's just to illustrate. He has the ball here with 11 seconds left, and the thing of Team Germany, they really don't do that many assists if you look at their stats. So this is another. He kind of handles the ball the whole time now. He hits the three, which was nice. But in the end, as you saw, there was no movement. There was no passing. It seemed a little too reminiscent of the Magic last year. So let's hope that that's not a habit that he continues to have and the ball starts flowing all the way through. He hits the three, so that's nice. But in the end, we have to continue to have a bit more motion in our offense. So again, Franz and one. What I noticed as well in these games is Franz has a bit more swag. First of all, this is the grizzled Franz, as you can see with the beard that he's got now, but he doesn't seem to. He always had the fire in him. That's what makes him a competitor. That's why he's gotten better each year. That's why he's growing as a leader as well. And he in with his national team because he is the guy, even though Schroeder's there and Schroeder thinks he's the guy as well. He has this like I don't know. There's something about him, as you'll see in a video that I'm going to be setting. That'll be coming out soon. His intangibles are really high, so this is just something. It's a feeling right now. It just feels like he's the alpha in this respect. He's the one that's the main guy. He's the one that's out there, and he's got all this swag, which is something that you love to see. Because prior to last season, I didn't feel like he had enough swag in him, but him being the number one option for that period of time while Paulo was out, I think really brought that in him. So it making him uncomfortable because that just wasn't him. But I don't know. On this team here, he feels like the guy. And whenever he makes a play, he's talking to the crowd, he's running out, he's flexing a bit more. So I love that. That's something that we'll be super excited to have on the Magic because that's part of the narrative that we're going to need again, right? Like we're going to need that swag, we're going to need that bravado, we're going to need somebody to be out there and flexing a bit on the competition. So there was a time Serbia was up for a bit, then they went to a full court press and they pressed and they had two or three straight steals. I think it was two straight steals, and this one is Franz's steal. Ooh. I put a little nugget into here. Like one of our assistant coaches is coaching, is helping to coach the German national team. And if you watch the telecast on the German feed, you see and you listen to the whole entire coaches speak. It's really interesting because we only get those sound bites that we get for like 10 seconds in the NBA, but you can hear the whole entire discussion that they have back and forth with the players. It was actually pretty interesting. You could see like he looks really comfortable. Their head coach himself, who's the guy right behind him, when you hear him talk, he doesn't feel like a leader. Like he just maybe he's just the guy there, but our guy is even more like, yeah, let's go. His name escapes me right now, so that's why I didn't want to say the wrong name. And then Franz got a cheapie at the end. He didn't really. It was almost as if it was the NBA Cup and you needed to have point differential or whatever for whatever reason. Franz wanted to get that extra basket with less than 10 seconds left for that there. So 4 games in for the German national team. They're 3-1. They have 2 more games before they start their EuroBasket. They play against Spain on August 21st and August 23rd. So those 2 games, I'll be putting out videos, doing a little bit of this as well. If there was any other news that comes up during that period of time as well, I'll try. Well, I will make videos for them as well. But other than that, we've I think it's really now going to start getting into the real quiet time of the NBA offseason with the schedule being out and Eurobasket about to start. So if there's anything that comes up, you'll know I'll cover it. Otherwise, it's going to be Eurobasket for the next little bit, focusing on our Magic players, not really doing much more than that. Oh, also with Goga playing for Georgia, the country Georgia, they for it's almost as if these games don't even exist. Like it's so hard to find any stats or even find any box scores or even find footage of it really. So when Eurobasket starts and the games are more televised, then I'll have breakdowns of what's happening with Tristan, Franz, and Goga, just so that we round out how the guys are developing over in Europe over the off season. So get that's it. So again, you got 3 things to do. You gotta click subscribe so you don't miss out on any content. You gotta hit that like button because it really helps the channel grow by getting it in front of more people. So hit that like button. And lastly, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the game today or what you think about the upcoming season so that we have it on record so we can see what you guys think. So I just want to thank you again very much for spending time with me. I hope you have a great day.